The boy Dub Deuce in the building.
What up, what up, what up? It is that guy Dub, and I'm back with another video. How y'all doing at the end of the day? Shout it, I'm good money. Today, we are back in the studio. We got a special guest. You know what I'm saying? He is newly represented by you saying motherfucking grade A, Mr. Lex Vegas, Mr. AKA himself. Church boy, what's going on, brother?
Man, nothing much, man. How y'all doing?
Man, we chilling, man. You said my boy Lex Vegas put me on to you saying that you killing it. You say making waves in the comedy game. You said so. Like, first off, let's tell people a little bit about yourself and you know what I'm saying and where you're going.
Yeah, man. My name is Levi Davis actually, but I go by Church Boy because both of my parents was preachers, so I'm a preacher's kid. You know what I mean? So I'm a PK at the end of the day. But man, what happened was being from Mississippi, man. Like, we jones around and joke and clown with people all the time, man. But my thing was, man, everything my mom always told me, I always put some education behind everything you do. So I never really knew I wanted to do comedy, but I always liked to write. And everything I was writing was coming out to be funny at the end of it. You know what I mean? So it was like, all right, how do I take this and what do I do? So I turned around and I started taking some lessons from a few people and getting some things together and starting to write and doing my own thing. But it was like I couldn't figure out my niche. But my niche was to actually just talk about myself, man. And once I started talking about myself, it's like I started to become my own man and started to come into my own. And now here I am. I'm here in Cleveland. I got to Cleveland by way of Mississippi. I was moving around just trying to find my way in the comedy game because I knew one state wasn't it if you really wanted to be somebody in comedy. And then anything really, you know what I mean? Like, you got to move around. So I started moving myself around a little bit, and I had an Army buddy that had invited me to come here in Ohio. And when I got here, man, it was like the comedy scene was just live, man. Like, it was almost 6 nights a week that you can do literally open mics or a showcase or something. So it was something that you can do at all times. And I wasn't overwhelmed. I was like excited, man. Like, it was like seeing the big lights in the big city if you come from the country, man. You know what I mean? It was like, oh man, I'm excited. I can't wait to become a part of this. And trying to become a part of it, I realized like I was able to get bookings and things like that, but it's harder than it looks. You know what I mean? It's way harder than it looks. Like, you can put your name out there, you can do all the right things, but if you don't have the right connection or the right person, and that's what Lex came in at, he knew a lot more about this scene than I did. So, you know, when it comes to that, it's like that's how I got hooked up with Lex.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, we're gonna, I guess, first touch on you saying your Mississippi roots.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of hip hop?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. Well, how does the likes of a David Banner and a Big Crit factor into your upbringing, or you said to maybe your genius, as far as coming from Mississippi and making your own name for yourself? You know what I mean?
Right. Well, David Banner is gonna be a big one, man, when it comes to him, because he always did come back and he always showed love regardless. I mean, even if it was just coming to the Battle of the Bands and shaking hands. So we knew that you can come from Mississippi and you can do something. And then not only that, we had JJ Williamson, the comedian. We had him coming out of Mississippi. So when I seen him and the things that he was able to do with the comic views and all that, because I'm a preacher's kid, I'm sneaking up late at night to just watch it, just to get a good laugh, man. And I'm seeing this guy from Mississippi, and he's really doing his thing. Like, he's on movies. He was on the Johnson Family Vacation even, you know. So it's like, see things like that coming from Mississippi, to have Oprah from my actual hometown of Kosciuszko.
Okay.
Hey.
That's a beautiful thing right there.
Right.
So you said with you moving around a lot, you said you had an Army buddy. So I'm assuming that you were in the military.
Yes, I was in the Army.
First off, you said thank you for your service. You said we respect you around here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna give you your flowers. You said, for not only just for fighting for this country, but for two, you said you're making a name for yourself in a comedy way as well. And we over here is about giving everybody their flowers. You
right.
Still here, because it's nice to do it when they're gone, but it don't mean nothing.
Exactly.
You didn't have that same energy the day before I died. Why you all talking about me?
Exactly. And speaking of that, brother, man, I appreciate you for even giving me a chance to be on your show, man. Because, like, dude, it's hard to try to put a show together. I've been trying to work on my podcast, but now I'm actually doing that. So I'm getting everything together, man. But I appreciate you even giving me an opportunity to come on here, bro, because this is a good look, man.
Well, see, it's not definitely not a problem. And you said from one, you said entertainment, you said personality to another. It's not hard. I've had this YouTube channel since I think 2015.
Okay.
I've done the ins and outs of what everything is supposed to be popular on YouTube. I've done the mukbangs. I've done cooking. You said you name it, just about I've done it. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
I decided to get into this interview space. You said for one, I wanted to interview interesting people. I wanted to use people to have a safe space and a platform to, okay, if I talk about this by myself, I might get a 30-day ban from Facebook, or I might get, you said, or somebody might get butthurt about what I'm saying. But you said, like, the reason I wanted to open it up that way is because we can have these conversations, because the things that you leave out 9 times out of 10 when you put it on social media is context. So when we have the conversation, now we're getting the context, you said, within, you said everything that we're talking about. So there's nobody should really get butthurt, especially in context. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Speaking of context, with everybody in the comedy world that gets butthurt so easily, how do you weave in and out of staying true to yourself, but also catering to pansies in the audience?
What I try to do, even if it's a joke that's not about me, I try to consider what to them would be funny. Not to me, you know what I mean? Like even if it's a LGBT community out there, you know what I mean, that's in the crowd, and if I want to do a joke about that, I have actually sat down with some of my friends that's in that community, and we've discussed it, you know what I mean? Because it's so sensitive out here. Why wouldn't you go and utilize the people that's around you? But I understand getting in trouble if you don't associate with those people, because you don't have those people to ask is this a bit too much?
Right.
So that's how I really just avoid it that way. You know what I mean? I can still get my jokes off. But I find out what's too far and what's not. You got to get that line for you, because I look like a male that, you know what I mean? I'm ready to rock, alpha male. I look that way. So I have to be very cautious in how I present things to people. And another way I fix that, I talk about myself. If I'm talking about me, you can't get butthurt about what I said about me being fat. I mean, that's just all it is too.
Right. Well, see, it's like you said, like, I guess what's popular right now is using this whole Bud Light debacle. Whatever. To me, it's hilarious. You send the right-wing media, you send conservatives, they're butthurt. Oh my God, you put a trans on a Bud Light. No, how I find, because I do a little comedy, you send to myself from time to time, and you send it's like, so my thing was finding a funny in. You said, because me personally, I'm a beer drinker.
Yeah.
Only people I know that drink Bud Light either have a wife or a girlfriend that wear underwear with dick holes in them. So I don't give a fuck about Bud Light, period.
Right.
It's like, so at the end of the day, whatever you say, it's like, and then you like your Aunt Jemima's, or you say your Uncle Ben. The only people you said that really got mad about those characters being on those boxes that we've seen our entire lives were white people.
Yeah, and 90% of the time that's who it is, because I mean, we're not sitting there dwelling on it. Why would we? At the end of the day, we see something that look like us, we tend to probably want to go use it. So I mean, we wasn't really thinking too much into it on that level of it. You know what I mean? It was like, okay, they always want to support your own or whatever. So when you see something like that, even if you don't know that it's a white product, you tend to go out there and buy that. So we weren't thinking nothing of it. I know I wouldn't. Not on that level, you know. It was like, oh, it's some good serve, you know. But you know, I like Blackburn anyway, so
that's even like with you said, put like them pandering to black people. Oh, you said we know that you saying you guys have dealt with such adversity as the black community for so many years. So instead of you saying making some real change, we're just going to paint Black Lives Matter on an important street. Appreciate it. That does absolutely nothing. But
nothing. Right.
It's
a
like
waste of space. Appreciate it.
Exactly.
Could have took that paint and went and found some old lady and painted her house for her.
Or
you get more out of that.
Right. Or found a neighborhood park that you saying that's run down and beat down.
Exactly.
Make a basketball court for the kids.
Exactly. Put the lines on the court for them. Put some new rims up, new goals, something. Come on, man. I can go buy a basketball goal right now for $69. And you mean to tell me the city can't keep one in the park? Really?
Right, but you said you got these cops is taking millions of dollars. You saying or
Yep.
whatever. You saying, but that's a whole nother subject for another time. But
Right.
you point. But you said getting back into comedy. Who are some of your influences in this comedy game?
Man, I like Arnez J, man. Like I'm a big energy person.
Mm-hmm.
Like even though I got some size on me, I'm still on that stage and I'm back and forth. Like you never know where I might end up. I might end up in the top of somebody's chair, on their table, whatever, by the end of it, you know. So I like energy. So Arnez J was one of those people that I always like gravitated towards watching. And Bernie Mac was another one. Bernie Mac himself just talking off the rip. No set, no nothing, just was gold. Whatever he came out his mouth with, people love his charisma was there, his stage presence was there. So all that I try to embody some of that so I can, you know what I mean, at least see how that feels, man. Because just to watch him on stage make me feel good watching him getting that reaction that he gets. So it's like Bernie Mac, Cat Williams, he's all over the stage as well. I like him too. And of course, Richard Pryor, man.
Mandatory.
Richard Pryor and Red Fox. That's it, man.
It's like when I talk to you said most comedians, men and women, you saying they gravitate more towards the male side of comedy. And you saying, like I said, we're equal opportunity around here. You said we're gonna show love to everybody. Who are some of your female comedic greats that you hold in high regard?
Man, Sherry Shepherd.
Absolutely.
And Monique, Samoa. Man, it's some local talent too, man, that be really just going hard here lately. LOL Brill, she been doing her thing too. She's been doing pretty good. What's the lady name? She's out of Atlanta. Sweet Baby Keita.
Okay.
Sweet Baby Keita, she's been doing her thing. And I mean, she's fire. Every time she gets on the stage, man, it's like you can learn from her just like you can any other OG.
Okay. You saying that's awesome. Now you saying like I've been like peeping out your profile and I've seen that you getting ready to do some good traveling here. So how does it feel? You said how does that feel knowing that you're about to start branching out of Ohio, or you said branching out of what I guess what you would say now is your comfort zone. You know what I mean?
Right. It's rough thinking about it, but it's not really that bad because I had set myself like out there anyway, just checking open mics and doing this and that because I was already working on the road. So I worked on the road for like a year for Dollar General's, remodeling Dollar General. So while I was doing that, we would be in North Carolina, we'd be in Virginia, here, there, and the third. So I was always hitting open mics, but to actually know where I'm going now and these places I'm going now, they got a real crowd, and it's not a crowd that just showed up to drink and might happen to come there to hear a little comedy. No, these people showed up, and now I got to actually give them a real show because I feel like I'd rather be an entertainer than a comedian at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, this is something that you said that I was thinking about prior to our interview. You said when it comes to entertainment in general, you said you got people that get on like Jess Hilarious or DC Young Fly, you said, or Country Wayne because they came up through the internet. You said instead of, but then again, you say yeah, they popped off on the internet, but you don't know what they're doing when that camera goes off. You said you don't know if they have these open mics. So do you think it's a disrespect to comedians? Well, just to the comedy world in general for them to say, oh, well, you're a YouTube comic. Oh, well, you're an Instagram comic.
I'm not gonna say that per se because most of the people that be on the internet, they have flop videos too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like bombing on stage, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't have to, but if you read some of them comments, it's worse than what we would ever get on stage.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get that they're still getting the practice, but until you get on that stage, it's gonna be something that's gonna be lacking until you get that stage under your belt, because I mean it's a whole nother adrenaline rush on by itself. Mm-hmm. So to keep your composure and have all that, you got to get on that stage regardless. So if they don't get on that stage and they just jump straight out there and don't try to do anything for any type of practice, to the OGs, I feel like that's gonna be a little bit disrespectful, man.
Right.
Just a little bit.
Right. Well, it's like, to me, like, okay, there was a big YouTuber. You said she had a couples channel with her then husband. You said it was by the name of Queen and Chris and Queen.
Yeah.
And she had been trying to sing forever. and she been singing, you saying on her YouTube and on her Instagram and everything, and even tried out for American Idol, didn't make it.
Right.
Her and her husband broke up for whatever reason. She comes out with a song called Medicine. It does 25 million views in a day. But now she's getting hated on from like a Little Mo or you said, or like other seasoned artists. You said, oh, but she's just a YouTube singer, which is the point I was trying to get at. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so I think to me personally, I think it's a disrespect because like at the end of the day, back when we was coming up, you saying like we didn't have the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We didn't have the avenue to you know what I'm saying to try to do that. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
now if I pop off on the internet, that doesn't, to your point, make me any
Yep.
less funny, make me any less talented just because I popped off on Instagram or YouTube or
Right.
Twitter or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like I think we across all genres just need to stop spreading so much hate and embracing motherfuckers because you see like yeah, you said a Country Wayne could see this interview and be like, you know what? They were talking about something. Let me holler at my boy Church Boy. Let me get
Right.
him on the next tour. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
like you said, which is like I said, I try to open these pathways, you know, to
Exactly.
you said
See,
bridge the gap.
one thing I liked about Country Wayne was even when it came time for him to get on stage, they was offering him way more money, and this man turned it down himself
Mhm.
and told him he wasn't ready for that yet. Let him get his act together. I respect it. You know what I mean? That's what the OGs are talking about. You know what I mean? Like get something under your belt. They don't mind you getting on the stage right after you've done internet, but come learn what we talking about. Learn what that premise is. Learn what that setup is. Learn what that punchline is. Learn what these tags are. You know what I mean?
Right.
Learn where your place is if you're a headliner. Learn what you do as a headliner. Learn what you do as a feature. Learn what you do as an opener. Because all
Mhm.
these roles come into one to make a whole show. But if you opener and you trying to show out more than the headliner, you done cut the show in half, man.
Well, you said speaking on that, you said, and actually, I'm glad you brought that up. You said because I like to ask each comedian that I have on my show, and we've had you said quite a few. And you said shout out to all of you. I love the comedy community because I love the laugh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You said, but I'm gonna expound on the whole. You said the YouTuber, you said internet famous people to like a Ti, where you just said you said you like know your place, but then you said somebody coming on stage taking up too much time.
Right.
You said, how does that rattle around in your brain with somebody who's already a pseudo celebrity taking up your time that where you're trying to you saying work?
Um. Now, if it's like, say it's a big time celebrity, and they come in and they actually in my town where I'm at, and you don't give me any type of respect, I'm gonna feel some type of way. But the way this business works, it works off of who you know and who you made mad and who you made happy.
That's true.
And respect go a long way. So being that who they are, you let the promoter handle that as a comedian. You let your agent or your manager or somebody other than you handle that.
Right.
Because that can put you in a spot for future shows that can mess you up. You know what I mean? As far as with your working relationship. So you want to keep
True.
that as cool as possible. So even if, especially somebody that's a well-known comedian like that, you know, you don't really want to be like, why you step on my toes? You just gonna have to do your 5 minutes and get out of there and hope for the
You said,
best.
right. You said with that, there's also a way to do everything. Something like, would you personally, but you be like, yo, my man, you saying I love what you do. You saying blah 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 blah, and just like not even necessarily check them on it, but you said just make your presence known. Like, yo, appreciate you being here. Blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? I'm such and such. So just you know,
I would
just at
probably
least introduce yourself.
right. I would probably hit him with something like, man, I had something funny for him, man. If I only had 2 more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Oh,
mean? Just on some humble, hey, you know, just like, hey, this is what I got going, man. I could have been a lot funnier if I could have had them 2 more minutes that I know I'm supposed to get. And
right.
a lot of times it'll click in on people like, oh snap, I took his time. Or
Yeah.
if they just want to be a butt anyway, they gonna do what they gonna do.
I mean, unfortunately, that's true. You see, but like you touched on you said some local comics. Well, you said like right now, who are your favorite that you love to see? You said when it's time for you to hit the stage, that you who you love to see in the building, because you know
Man,
it's about to be one.
if Sean Boyd, Chevy Terrell, John Bruton, Kevin Ford, any of them
Mhm,
getting on stage,
mhm.
Yeah, I'm paying attention. And then you already know, man, we got the OG Big Rich Green.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Rich is in the house. Man, look, everybody's already laughing before you get on stage.
It's like I asked every comedian this because you said like, are you better at writing or are you better at improv?
I got a little bit in both though, because I done some writing in college and I also done a lot of community theater and some improv troops and stuff like that as well. So it's like I got a little of both, but I feel like my writing is a lot stronger than my improv.
Right, because I was looking at a clip that came down my Facebook timeline. It was a old clip from a Def Comedy Jam, and it was Angela Means. You remember Felicia Friday?
Right.
And she was in the middle of her set, and somebody in the crowd said something, and she flipped to improv that quick and did not miss a beat. And I'm just like, and that is such an awesome skill when I can see them, these comedians pull it off well, because some of them pull it off well. You said a lot of them pull it off greatly, but then every now and again you'll see that crash and burn where they're so stuck in the material that they get lost. You know what I'm saying? So like you as a fellow comedian, what advice would you give to somebody that you see get lost in the material and not know how to bounce back off a wild card?
Well, when I sit there and I try to do improv, what happens with me is I'm instantly focused off of my act for about 2 seconds. I kind of put a bookmark in it. I know where I'm at. Mm-hmm. I'm making a place. Like you got to keep focused. Mm-hmm. At that point, you got to have a laser focus because you got to put a bookmark where you just were at. Mm-hmm. Now you got to look at this person, find something quick as quick as you can, find anything that can neutralize the situation and get them off of you. Mm-hmm. Because my improv skills came from, I do another character as well. Mm-hmm. So when I do that character, most of it is like a whole improv 10-minute set of just improv, just dealing with the crowd. So what I've done, I've learned to work with people without that material. But then do the material on certain nights, and that way I know I got that as well. So I keep that marker. I do what I got to do, hit the crowd, come right back, get right back on focus. Bam, we right back in there. Try to get back to the punchline.
Nothing wrong with that. You said, well, like another question I always ask, because you said, like I said, it's interesting to me. It's like, do you change up your set depending on what side of town you on? Let's just say Rick Ross, he's doing Push It to the Limit, you said, or something like that. He's gonna do it differently at a birthday bash stage than he is if he gets hired at a high school. So like, are you able to use, I guess, maybe change up using how you had everything set up like that?
Yeah, I can pretty much, like, my stories, I'm a storyteller. So my stories, I have them where they're systematically in place to where I got it, where if I'm with a black crowd, white crowd, it don't matter because it's going to still hit because it's about children. Most of the time, children are children. They bad. They're going to do whatever they're going to do regardless of what you tell them. You know what I mean? So those stories will hit home anywhere that you are. So past that, like I'll hit, if I'm at a black club, I'll find something that's interesting that I've seen about the place or the people that's in there, and I'll start with that as an opener. Mm-hmm. Just to warm them up, just to get them with, you know what I mean, make them feel comfortable and know that we're here to have a good time. Right. With the white crowd, it's the same thing, but with the white crowd, they typically come there and they want to see this show. They want it to go according to plan, like they seen it on that flyer. So everything is crisp and lined up and tight. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? With the black shows, it's the same thing, but the people in the crowd want you to interact with them more. They want you to actually do the crowd work and talk to them and have a good time. You know what I mean? Like white people, it's just like white churches and black churches, man. Like, look, get me out of service and let's go.
Right. It's like, speaking of white and black churches, it's like, a lot of times, because like I said, I think everything has gone so political. It's like it's hard to deal with churches nowadays. It's like, but then you find certain comics or comedians that can bridge the gap and just kind of like, even though they're supercharged politically over here and they're supercharged politically over there, you're able to bring both sides together. Right. And like, okay, forget Washington for right now. You said let's have some fun. How are you able to do that? You said to like you because I know you mentioned what you said with interacting with the crowd, what you said when it comes to black folks, you mean, or sticking to the ticket when it comes to white crowd. How are you able to, you saying like if you're in a mixed room, able to bring both sides together, especially where we are, because everything's so politically charged now. How are you able to, you saying, to bring that room together?
Well, one thing about it is, man, if you can turn around and you can just make people laugh, genuinely laugh, they don't really care whether you black or white. That's the stigma a lot of times. And a lot of times people know you're not being yourself. Like they sense you not being yourself. So if you go out there and you know it's white people in the crowd, so now you're trying to speak extra proper and you're going to talk like this, and then they're going to shut you down. And that's the black people going to shut you down, because now they're like, well, we know this ain't the same. You know what? That we seen last week now when he was showing out and showing his tail. So you gotta, it ain't even about a balance at that point. It's about still sticking to who you are and trusting that the material that you wrote is what the people want to hear or need to hear. And as long as you got something that they need to hear, even if they don't laugh, they paying attention to you.
Right. Well, expounding on that, because also something else I also try to do on this platform is preach to the children. You should maybe not necessarily preach, but teach something. Use it because like people ask me all the time, use it because I've got relatives that are using, because I've got 5 kids. I got 4 girls and a son.
Ooh, you be tired, boy.
Man, I'm trying to, you see the bags under my eyes, brother? But see, it's like people, like family members and even friends been like, so what's it like having kids? And if you want, you can use this, because it's like, what's it like having kids? It's like having broke best friends. Right. Because we all done had that best friend, and you said they here for you, they love you, but they broke as shit. You don't bring shit to the table. You said,
right, exactly.
You said, but a lot of these kids now are getting caught up in the social media thing because they see who's becoming famous. They're seeing goofy shit like that, but it's becoming famous. So you want to act the ass on the internet. And my kids used to like, I try to keep them away from social media. My oldest is 19, and she's at this point asked, Pops, you think I can get an Instagram yet? Nope.
Right.
And she's 19.
Yeah, started getting them too, so I understand you 100%.
Like, and so I'm like, because a lot of times it's like you have to have thick skin for that comment section, and these kids do not have that thick skin like we used to. They don't. It's like I said, I've been doing YouTube for a while. Bruh. Next time you see Lex, I did a reaction video with him and an ex of his, and myself and my wife. We did a reaction video to Childish Gambino, This Is America. After we get off here, I'm gonna send you the link to that video. Fuck the video's gonna be funny, just because Lex is hilarious in the video. Look at the comment section. That comment section is brutal.
Oh yeah. That's one of the things I was saying earlier about the comedians that's on the internet. Like they get bummed, they get booed, but it just come in a different form. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, them comments can be rough, man. But when it comes to it, as far as like children, man, like I really think they got to go back. I know they don't want to. But they got to go back to some of the things we were doing when we were younger, man. If they don't, their skin is only gonna get thinner and thinner, man. Like it's gonna get paper thin. They're gonna get paper cuts and almost die from them, man. Like they got to get better than that, because this thin skin thing, dude, is causing a lot of mass shootings. Man, like we had bullies when we was growing up, but our bullies was different, man. Like our bullies they really kept the order, dude, in a sense. Like you had a hierarchy and you knew it, and you kind of knew where your place was. And if you wanted to do better, you had to do better. Period.
Right. It was like, I think that was one thing that, like, I would always piss bullies off because I always thought outside the box.
Right.
Because like I grew up poor, so I'd have people's like, oh yeah, you said like you live in the poor neighborhood. Oh, you live in the trailer park right now. I'm 14. I don't have a job. There's nothing I can do about that. What else you got? And they'd be like, you know what? And they would try. And I wouldn't engage. It was like, oh, well, you said you wore those pants 2 days ago. I didn't wash. Mom told me to wash. I didn't wash. I got to wear these motherfuckers again. Whatever.
Hey, look, that's where the church boy name actually came from, was from bullies, man. Like when I came up, that's like, get away, man, you old little church boy, you church boy this, church boy that, and you can't even watch TV, you church boy, you this. So I said, all right, I tell you what, next time y'all hear church boy and y'all say church boy, it's gonna have some money behind it.
I know that's right. But right, ain't nothing wrong with that. But you said getting back to these, I know you was talking about, you said they have to go back, but give us like, what's the biggest piece of advice you would give that child, you said, who decided to, let's say, I'll just pick a subject, who decided to eat cornstarch on the internet, because that's the thing. People literally make videos themselves eating cornstarch. Yeah. Why? I don't know. But hey, right. It's a thing. It's like, okay, but now that child, say the child is yours, and be like, Pops, I just got a million views in a day, you said, for me eating cornstarch, but there's all these mean people in my comments. Or they're telling me I should this or that. Well, how would you guide your child into, first off, coming into that small bit of celebrity, but also maintaining and handling their mental on that? Right. How would you handle that as a father?
First off, man, like I would limit their time. I would limit their time and probably would try to screen a little bit of their comments myself. Try to. I know it's impossible to catch everything, but try to do some screening and maybe have mom or something on top of that as well. But as far as trying to help them into their own, just try to get them onto a different path with that, and some merchandise and a few things that get them some money that's gonna come help them when they get older.
Right.
Like a few investments on what they got. So if they got that many followers, I mean, let's see if we can get you some commercials. Let's see if we can get you a few, advertisements or something going too.
Absolutely. You see, because like
merch.
Right. You see where I'm going with this? Boom. Right. It's like we're in a time where you can pretty much monetize anything.
Right.
You see, like, and it's funny because like you can change your Facebook profile to a business profile. Where you can monetize. You see your Instagram, your Twitter, your Twitch, you name it. You can monetize it. So like, and I tell people all the time, you've got something that you do that's special just to you.
Right.
And you said, like, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you start monetizing? You said your content. First off, you said, like, ask the question. You said there's an answer for that. Right. Second of all, it's like you got to be consistent. You said when it comes to it. You said because like if I only work 1 day a week. Right. I mean, I'm only off 1 day a week, and I happen to see you on stage that one day, and I don't see you on social media, nothing like that. I'm thinking you're only consistent 1 day. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do you said manage to do the on stage, the internet? You said gaining a manager to get ready to tour, and you said how do you manage all these different hats? You said while also still accepting help from your manager.
Start early in the morning, man. For one, I'll start early in the morning. Like I'm up every morning at 4:00. Like I'm up at 4. When I wake up at 4, I start with writing. I write first. I write for at least an hour, and sometimes it goes over, just depending on what I'm writing on. But I start with writing. I start revising my jokes. I watch videos for about 30 minutes of my old material, and I go back in and I write for another 30 minutes.
Okay.
So I start there first thing in the morning. Then after that, if it's anything with social media, it should be around 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. So I know people are getting up, stirring around. So I try to catch that first algorithm first thing in the morning. So I'll post anything that I got going for that week. I try to get it first thing that Sunday. Like today, I try to start getting posts. Monday, I'm getting posts. By Tuesday, I should have everything posted for the week. Everything should be posted for the week by Tuesday. I try to talk to my manager at least once a day, just to see if we got anything going for that day or the next day, or if I found any information out. Because one thing people don't realize, when you have a manager, your work's not done still. So like I still work on getting different bookings of people that he don't know that I might know. Mm-hmm. So that way we catching on all sides.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like if I'm working on a booking here in Mississippi, because I know people in Mississippi, he's working here in Cleveland. you know what I mean, Detroit or whatever. So it's like we come together as a total package. But the thing is, when you trying to get a manager too, you got to really show you know what you're doing, man. Like, don't sit there and waste time. Oh, I'm gonna do an open mic once this week. Okay, well, the guy that wants to be your manager might be there 3 times this week.
Right.
So now you missed him and you mad at the guy that was there 3 times this week. Why? Why be mad at him? He obviously wanted it more. He's going to work. Let that man work until you figure out how to get your work ethics together. Don't worry about what the next man is doing, because I mean that slows down your growth process as well. Because there was friends of mine that came in after me that's doing things that's bigger than me right now, but I couldn't worry about what they were doing because I had to still focus on my lane and my road, because my road ain't their road.
Exactly.
And what God got for them obviously ain't for me, or he would have gave it to me first, and he didn't. So I let it go. I figured out what was for me, and what God had for me is where I'm at now. You know what I mean? So hey, that's how you balance that, man. And I go to sleep probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock if it ain't a show. Okay. So I get 3-4 hours of sleep a night.
Wow. I'm probably doing right around the same. And I usually, like I said, I work a second shift job from 3 to 11, but sometimes I don't go to sleep till about 4 o'clock in the morning. Whether you
right.
I'm checking use also my algorithms and things like that. But you said we're gonna shift gears and we're gonna get back to Lex Vegas, because you said, like I said, once again, Lex Vegas is also a brother here. You said, Redline Radio, my brother also.
Shout out to Lex Vegas.
Yeah, shout out to Lex Vegas. Make sure you tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. You said every Thursday night for the Lex Vegas show here on Redline Radio LLC. Remember, hashtag Thursdays for the culture. Let's go. Also, 9 o'clock Club Pizzle. You know what I'm saying? Got a shout out to brother Don P. Now, we talk about Lex all the time. You know, when it comes here, because for one, you said just like I came up under him, and I'm doing my own thing, you know, and stuff like that. But we've been tight ever since we met.
Right.
And one thing that's funny is you said the intro to his show, the Pimp Named Dickback skits. You said I did those. I shot and edited all. You said, and it's funny because you said, and I tell this story all the time, and I don't know if you've heard it yet, but it is Lex is the most professional asshole I've ever met in my life. It's like, but that's my guy. That's my guy. It's like, okay, like, and if you like the intros to his shows or to his skits, he's done, like I said, most of them. The finished product you got, you said there was probably 40 to 50 rough drafts before he finally put out that final product. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Which, like, and some people take it as it's a pain in the ass, and I'm like, so like when I've done stuff for other people, they were like, well, I don't know. He said, what do you think? I'm like, bro, this is your project. You saying you asked me to do a service. You saying like stop being timid about your shit. Tell me what the hell you want.
You didn't pay me director money. You didn't pay me director money. You told me to come video this and edit it for you. So I need you to know what I'm doing when I get there.
You like when I talk to a client, you said when they want me to do something, I'd be like, okay, first thing, give me your treatment of what you want out of your end product. So like with people's like, I'll say Lex is an asshole because he wants me to edit things 50 different times before we put it out. But at the end of the day, you say, yeah, my name's going on it because I did it. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy with it, my name's just on it.
Right.
So like, is that one of the things that gravitated you to, you saying, having Lex Vegas become your manager?
Yeah. And then at first though, man, like Lex, he really wasn't for being no manager, man. Like he was like, man, that ain't me. I'm working on my thing. You know what I mean? But me, I'm pretty persistent, dude. Like a lot of people don't know that about me. I'm pretty persistent. Like if I realize like that's really gonna be the best move, God done talked to me already. You know what I mean? Like I'm that type of person. Like I sit there and I've asked God and I'll be like, please give me a direction and give me a spirit of discernment. And when I kept saying it, it's like Lex kept popping up places that I was at. And it's like I kept praying. And he'd pop up again. And he actually gave me a chance to do a show. And it was like, all right, I see what he's doing. And a lot of the OGs back down south, they said if you ever get anywhere where there's a bigger city, if you want a manager, look more towards a promoter or somebody of that nature because they know the people that you need to know. And I was looking at it and I'm like, Lex is pretty good, you know what I mean, at his thing, and he's pretty professional. And that's one thing I was noticing. If it was a show he had me on, hey, I ain't trying to put the man business out in the street, but I wasn't even on the stage yet. He didn't know what I could do. And that man already gave me my money. So
I don't necessarily think that's putting business out in the street. I think that's showing the level of integrity that he has as a businessman. So you definitely got to give him his kudos for that. But I definitely dig that.
Yeah. So he was doing things like that, and it was like I was just noticing that he had a spirit of togetherness. Like he wants to bring things together. He wants to bring a lot of people together to make them shine, and this, that, and the third. So I just went to him like a man. Like some people probably should have already done because I seen something in him that obviously other people didn't, man. But I see it in him, bro. And since I've had him my manager, it's only been about 2 weeks, but I'm booked this month, next month, and part of July. So I mean, he got no bad things to say about this, man. If anybody else do, come holler at me about it. We'll square off and hell it then.
Right.
I'm a comedian, man. We're gonna tell jokes. I ain't gonna do no fighting. I'm just joking.
Right. That's the funny thing about all of that, because it's like there's a running joke in the comment section, especially at the beginning of his show. You said it's like, is the guest going to be on time or not?
Right.
And also, Key Silly, you said when they did the Halloween, you said unapologetically funny. You said the performance over there. You said Old World Tavern, shout them out too. You said Key Silly got on stage and was talking about everybody being on time, and all the comedians were on time. He was like, yeah, it was like, but you have to be on time because Lex doesn't like that.
Right.
And those that know, we thought it was the most hilarious thing she said the entire night because we know Lex.
Shout out to Key Silly too, man. She's doing her thing. Silly Gang. The Silly Gang. She's doing her thing right now, man. For sure.
And you said, me personally, I love Key Silly. I've had her on the program. You said, it's like we laughed from the beginning to the end.
Man, look, and keep you cracking up.
Yeah. And she's such a cool and humble person.
Right.
But she's a monster on the stage. So it's like, how do you like? We'll put it like this: if you could sit there and put together your own 85 South show, and I know people have asked this, and I usually try to stray away from the low-hanging fruit questions that I've heard all the time. But I do want to ask this question because I want to know, if you could create your own 85 South show right now, who would it be with?
From the Cleveland scene?
Yeah.
Ooh. Man, look, Key Silly for sure. For sure, because her energy matches mine. Like our energy is like right there. Like it's right there neck and neck. Like we got that energy together. But her style is different than my style. Like, you know what I mean? She's rapid fire and I'm more of a storyteller. But between her and DJ Brown Johnson, I know you know who that is.
Oh yeah.
Look, that's your wild card right there. Right. That boy gonna bring some of everything out. He'll say whatever, do whatever, as long as he get the laugh. You know what I mean? So that's one of those things that I feel like will be strong. And then Tyrone Gaines.
I had just had him on. That's my guy too.
Tyrone Gaines, man. Tyrone Gaines. That's the bro, man. That's my brother, man. Me and him, we've been kind of going neck and neck at a few things, but it's a friendly competition between me and him, though, man. Like we always make fun, be like, oh, we're gonna have a comedy beat, But me and him, like, we ain't too far off in how long we've been doing comedy, and he's doing his thing right now, and I'm doing mine, and we're going to a lot of the same places and doing shows. So, man, big shout out to Tyrone, man, because Tyrone, he's a good dude, man. Okay, and he works. He actually writes. He's one of the few people that I know that actually sit down and write. He put that pen in the paper. Oh
yeah, definitely. You said, like I said, when I had him on, you said he broke down his process, and you said was talking about his background and everything. Like you said, that's a really solid brother. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
He said, I'm definitely, you said, I'm from that guy Dub. You said to church, what I'm telling you, you said you got some solid folks around you. So I definitely got to commend you on that. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Now, he said it's like there was an argument going on within the comedy world about that a lot of these bigger celebrities are saturating Netflix's algorithm and not giving too much space for up and coming comedians.
Right.
But do you agree with that, or do you think you said that it's just what's hot right now? You said Netflix is all about the money.
I kind of agree with it, man. I think it is saturating it a little bit, though, man, because I know it's been a couple of subjects that I was getting ready to do. I'm talking about I had some fire jokes wrote, and that premise was ate up so bad by a professional that it was like, can't use that one. Right. So yeah, I get it though, but it's like them being there, and it's so much comedy being pushed by that major network like that. It's nothing like it was when it was just one or two shows. Mm-hmm. When it was one or two shows, everybody had to go through that, which means it was a screening process, which means it was this, it was that, but you knew where to go to watch all your jokes. You had 2 to 3 different places you can go, and that was it. With this Netflix thing, dude, there's jokes everywhere from anybody. I mean, there's jokes that you don't want to hear and jokes you want to hear. So it's like, man, it's so much stuff out there, dude. Like, where do you start to pull things from that's original?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you get to the point to where it's comedians like me that I'm surviving by telling jokes of my life and my family. And because if I start doing anything else, it's so close to something that somebody else has done or said that it almost look like you're stealing jokes.
I mean, speaking of stealing jokes, well, how do you feel about that? Because you say like I
can't stand it. I can't stand it because I sit here and I've taken 6 months, 9 months, sometimes a year to make this whole little 15-minute set work. It's 15 minutes, but it done taken me 3 to 6 months to make it work. And you're gonna come up here and put your name on it right after I've done the 6 months of work, and then you get the same laughs that I get and start getting money that I can't get off of my joke. Nah, I ain't cool with it. I ain't cool with it, man. That's the same thing as even if you copy off my paper, I don't mind you copying off my paper. That's cool. You can copy off my paper. Use my premise. You can use my premise, but leave my setup, leave my punchline, my tags, leave that alone. Use the premise. That's what we're talking about. Whatever subject it is, that's your premise. Use that. I don't mind. But when it comes to using my punchlines and stuff like that, yeah, we're going to have a conversation somewhere.
It's like I've said for years, it's like, you know, I've equated it to different things. It was like, bruh, I don't mind if you cheat off my paper, but did you have to write my name at the top too?
That part. That's what I'm saying right there. Don't write my name on your paper, bro. Like, you stole everything from me, and you just changed my daughter's name to your daughter's name, and that's the only thing you changed? Right. No, we're not gonna rock with that one. That's not cool. And if you get caught, man, I don't know. Hopefully you catch syphilis or something. I don't know, but
oh man, dude. Wow. Oh man.
But man, like I sat during COVID for 4 months just writing my first act before I got on stage for the first time. So yeah, I commend anybody that writes and try to be original, because that was the first thing that I was taught by the guy that I was trying to, you know what I mean, get it figured out from, was please be original. Don't steal any jokes. If you get a premise, that's the only thing that you can talk about that somebody else is talking about. Like, say D.L. Hughley was talking about, say, Raggly shoes. Okay, talk about Raggly shoes, but don't talk about the blue suede Raggly shoes with the hole in them like he just said. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's okay to use the premise, but where the dilemma is coming in that I don't think everybody understands the structure of an actual joke in comedy. So they don't understand when you say take the premise, they don't understand which part of it is the actual premise.
Right.
So they just take the whole joke. I hope that's what that is.
You said, which is, I had this argument with somebody like a week or two ago. You said right after I interviewed Brother Marquise from 2 Live Crew.
Right.
And we were talking about 50 years of hip hop, you know, which we're upon right now. And we were talking about Freaknik. And you said, I'm not even gonna cap to you. You saying, like, I thought my interview, you said, with Brother Marquise was dope as hell.
Right.
You said we had fun. You said we talked and talked. But then you saying Vlad TV wants to talk about Freaknik, but you get D.L. Hughley to talk about Freaknik when Brother Marquise and Luke and the 2 Live Crew were the soundtrack of Freaknik, but you're talking to D.L. Hughley. I'm like, scratching my head. You know, but you know, hey, to each his own. I mean, that's your content. But I used to me personally, I thought mine was gonna go viral because you like I said, I'm talking to the mofo that was there for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? And you talking
really there. That was setting it up, yeah.
And not saying that D.L. Hughley wasn't there, but you saying like if your music is the soundtrack to something, I'm thinking your opinion might be a little more.
Look, I'm gonna tell you, wasn't nobody trying to be telling jokes at no Freaknik. It had nothing to do with the jokes. Now, shake that doodle brown. That doodle brown. that embodied Freaknik.
Right. Well, you said, also as a comedian, you said we all have to find the funny in everything. You said, some people don't know how to find the funny because we thought things died with VHS tapes. You said, speaking of like the Freaknik documentary coming out, how worried do you think some of these people should be that are prominent attorneys and judges and this, that, and the third now?
I don't know, with the way things have kind of weakened itself throughout the years, it ain't gonna be that bad, man. We got New Glow Baptist Church now. You know what I mean? We got New Glow Baptist Church. It's not gonna be as bad as people think. It's gonna only be bad to the ones that got husbands or something, and their husband gonna be mad. But I mean, let's face facts. How many men are out here right now that want that one that was on that video? So when that husband leave, dude, you gonna miss out because your woman is out of there, buddy. Because there's 30 other guys that seen her in that video that want her right now. So it's not gonna matter to her. It's not gonna hurt them like they think it is.
Yeah, It's like, okay, we just like, I guess we're gonna switch topics to comedy that is sometimes over the top.
Right.
Now, Charleston White considers himself a comedian. Me personally, I think in some aspects, what he says makes sense. Some aspects, I think you're just reaching just for the clicks.
Right.
Right. But you may also feel that way. Where do you rate him? And you say in your mind is like, is he really about this comedy life, or is he just somebody who's a troll? Or like, if he came into a venue where you're at, you said how would you take him? Would you take him serious, or how would you take him?
I don't know if I'd take him just straight serious all the time. I couldn't take him serious like that, but I'm from the South, so we got people that talk like that all the time. Like that's just who they are. That's their demeanor. That's their nature. And they're going to make you laugh all day, and they're going to say some stuff that's going to really be true. It's going to be deep, but for every deep thing they say, it's going to be 4 things. It's going to be a load of crap. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it's like you got to weed out and go through what they saying, which is exhausting. So I don't know if I could really just be around him like that. Like I probably could, just as far as like, hey, how you doing? Ha ha ha. See you on stage. You know what I mean? Because at this point, man, like I don't really get. I get what he's trying to do, but I don't. Just because it don't work, that's really make you seem like you just a quitter. Because he keeps saying things like, oh, well, I did this for so many years and it didn't work and nobody paid me any attention. You quit there, guy. Just call it what it is and move on. You quit. You was just social this, social that, social this, social that. Nobody was listening to me, so I decided to be a troll. Really? You're a quitter, man.
I mean, I definitely agree. You said I definitely agree with that. Like I said, just like, but even with him being a quitter, you said, can you still? You said like where he makes sense. Can you take that in? Because like we live in such a stupid era to where it's like, okay, if Nick Cannon wants to give you relationship advice, even if the advice that he's giving you in that particular time is spot on, is like, man, this may totally help your life. He also's got that crowd that's going to criticize him because he can't keep one. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you shooting the messenger instead of just taking the message? You know what I'm saying?
And that's what it is with Charleston White, man. It's one of those you take what you want, what you can use out of it, and the rest of it, man, let it go.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those people. But as far as a comedian wise, the dude funny, man.
Yeah,
he's funny. And he's one of those where he almost seemed like that drunk uncle or that high uncle that shows up.
But I couldn't put my finger on it. That's exactly what it is.
Right. He shows up to the barbecue and everybody's gonna laugh, but somebody gonna want to whoop his ass for the show's over with. Yeah. Before the barbecue is over, somebody gonna have to put pause on him.
You definitely tell you from the South, you said put pause on him. Like me personally, I grew up in Atlanta. You said,
okay.
Like, Metro Atlanta area. You said like it you said like pause and you said stuff like that. You said like we're speaking the same language. You know what I'm saying? So like
put these jumper cables on them.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you what you said. You was what they say. I'm gonna hit you with so many rights. You're gonna beg for a left.
Beg for a left. Yeah. I've heard that one too.
It's like before we get up out of here, let everybody know what you got coming up and what your shows are social media so that they can follow you.
Okay, yeah. On social media is Levi Davis on Facebook, but on TikTok and Instagram is Church Boy Comedy. But just like it's spelled on here, it's an I at the end instead of a Y. And as far as shows, I got to do the That Guy Dub show. Y'all shout out to That Guy Dub, man. Appreciate you, man. This is fun, dude, man. I appreciate you for rocking with me. Also got tomorrow, got the Ode to Hip Hop, Lex Vegas tomorrow, special edition. And what else we got? We got Parma. Got Pit Stop at Parma in Parma coming up on the 11th. And for the 12th and the 13th, we got the Kava Bar is having a Sacred Water at the Sacred Waters. They have a benefit for them, and it's going to be a show there as well. So that's what I got coming up this week, man, and a few things coming up next week as well. But, man, look, this is fun, man. I appreciate you, man. Look, you're a cool dude, too, man.
I appreciate it, brother. It's like, okay, let me just say this real quick. It's like, normally I space my interviews. I try to stay 5 or 6 interviews ahead.
Right.
But you say, like, almost an hour of talking. You said altered my entire trajectory. Not mad at you for it, but you said you put a little fire under my ass, which I can definitely tell you. You said you've been hanging around Las Vegas too long because you mentioned what you have tomorrow. Now this video's going up today. So
my bad, bro.
No, you good. You good. You said that there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not mad at it. You said, no, like, yo, sometimes I need that. You know what I'm saying? So like, hey, you good, brother. You said, like I said, you are always welcome here. You saying, like, at the end of the day, you say, if you got anything coming up, you say, invite your boy. If I can make it, I'm definitely gonna be there. I'm gonna support you. You were saying, if we gonna use to make it do what it do. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I appreciate you, man. I had to put a little fire on you, man. I didn't know I was putting it under you, though, man.
It's all to the good. You said it was like, but you said, with all that being said, I definitely got to thank my brother Church Boy for coming. You said blessing us with you said it was a fun time. We talked about some good topics. We definitely got to do it again because you said like with an hour show we can only scratch the surface. You said we got so much more we can talk about. Right. So many other subjects we can get into. You said to everybody that's watching, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on that bell so you don't miss another video. Without further ado, I am That Guy Dub checking out with another video with my man Church Boy. We out of here, man. Peace.
The boy Dub Deuce in the building.